And live. After struggling to, I created the live and then I realized that I hadn't set up the camera yet. Because they move the camera every time I'm done, it moves to a different position. I have to put it back. And today I was really struggling. Like I have the shadow on there today. Could not figure out how I'd set it up before to make it look right. I don't know. I gave up. I gotta keep it real. I only have so much time. But we're like, okay, you're never gonna get this puzzle done if you just keep playing with the camera forever. So this is the puzzle we're doing. It's only 500 pieces. How long could it possibly take? I feel like that's just setting myself up for failure, but that's fine. That's fine. It's only 500 pieces. How long can it take? I just opened it right before I started the live stream. Like, took the lid off and realized that the puzzle is still in the bag. Does this mean it's never actually been done? I'm surprised. All that means there's already so much. You can't see it, but there's so much blue. Ugh. Oh, it's going to be so messy. So messy. But this one I have seen people do videos of it. I feel like it was a part of some sort of... Oh, look, it's a puzzle piece I almost threw away. It was part of some challenge or some sort. I don't know. Just because I recognize it doesn't mean I know anything about it. But I do know that it is about to shed all over my table. Because there is so much blue crap all over my table already. I can't imagine it's going to get any better as we go on. It will, in fact, drive me up the wall. It's a fairly colorful puzzle. So how to separate it, it's, however you so choose, because it should be fairly easy to do anyways. I think the one perk about this one, as I look at the puzzle, the picture more. I mean, obviously I've had it for a couple weeks. I have seen the puzzle. We go back to past streams. I've been using the puzzle. I thought that's what the laptop sits on, which means that my laptop is lower now than it usually is because I had to take it off the puzzle so that I could do the puzzle. It was a sad times. But, ugh, okay. There's so much. You can't see it, but there's so much blue crap. It's because the back of it is blue, obviously. And that's shedding everywhere. Why I choose blue as the color I organized first. You should have chosen something else. I'm just so excited. Here's the problem. Should I redo it and not do it this way? No, I really want to do it this way. I was so excited that I can separate it top to bottom. Because usually the last ones I've done, it's been multicolored and you had to kind of, pick, like the last puzzle I did, you had to pick the different birds and do the birds, which is fine. But because I like to go top to bottom, it's kind of a bust because that's not how I like to do my puzzles. So, which I say that, I'm not separating this out very well at all. At all. It's fine. It's fine. I'm so excited. You should stop and reset it. Fine. As I talk to myself, like, hey, you need to do this differently. You're literally causing yourself problems. I need to do it by the different features, like have this one separated, have the different colors, separate them out, and do them that way. And then whatever doesn't go into those, then you can have the rest of that be the blue. Because the problem is I was separating it out into the blue, it's just making the blue bigger. If I can get more of the turtle, that'd be great too. But I don't know how well the turtle distinguishes itself in the puzzle. So, insert shrugging shoulders here. It's fine. It's early enough. It's okay. You can reset it. May not be. You want to do it from top to bottom, but I'm going to need you to do those pieces first, and then you're allowed to do it top to bottom. Then you're allowed. Only then. Only then. It's unfortunately Sunday again, which means tomorrow we all have to go back to work. Rules of fun. It always comes faster than you want it to. I'm going to put this on that one. Is that where it goes? No, it goes on the thing next to it. Don't care. The weekend always goes by too fast. And now here we are again. Back to the grind. Back to being a responsible adult and working and things like that. It's a bust. It's a bust. Hopefully you had a nice weekend. If you're watching this on the weekend, if you're not, it's the middle of the week. You're almost done. I don't know if you are. It could be Monday. You're almost done. That's what I tell myself all the time. Almost done. Almost made it. I did Legos yesterday. That went as good as expected. I wasn't really feeling it, but I made myself do it. I made myself log on and stream anyways, just to get myself in the habit of it. That, and I need to get it done. Problem is, I keep doing, I'm doing alternate builds for Lego sets, and because it's such a small set, you keep building it, ripping it apart, building it again, ripping it apart again. It's kind of tedious. I did end up on a good one. It is very pretty. Little dragon. It's an interesting thing. But I prefer when doing Legos, that they be bigger than that. So it's kind of a bust. I need to wait a second. I tried to watch a movie today that I really liked when I was younger. It's called American Sweethearts. And America's Sweethearts, not American. I knew I'd watched it a long time ago, and I knew I liked it, and I was like, oh, I'll try this out. Yet again, the symptom of I got a 7-day free trial for Cinemax because they had one movie on there that I wanted to watch, and I just figured, hey, whatever they have on there, I can definitely binge watch it. Get through anything they have. It's unlikely they have anything that exciting. I can get it all watched within the free trial, and then get rid of it. That's what everyone does with free trials. Got an alarm set so that way I can cancel it and not get charged for it. It's the small things. So I got to watch that one movie, and then I realized they don't have anything else worthwhile, which is how I ended up watching American Sweethearts, because I was like, fine, you have this free trial. Is there anything you want to watch in this thing? That's not right. Is there anything at all you want to watch? And that's something I ended up watching, and it did not stand the test of time. It was kind of disappointing. There was so much stuff that I found funny when it first released, but now I watch it and it just falls flat. It's just not as good as it once was. And you got to figure, okay, why is that? It's because I'm a different person, which is fine. It's true. I'm not the same I was then. Certain things I liked when I was younger, I don't like it anymore. Vice versa, also true. Like, why is it that all of a sudden I don't like this anymore? And then I remembered, okay, it just didn't pass the last test that I have that makes something that I like into a classic. My rules on classics are that you have to be able to watch it. You have to have watched it at least 3 times. It needs to be old enough that you can say it's stood the test of time. Because, sometimes it's super popular at the time, but then years later, you're like, it just does not hold up. It doesn't hold true. Or, just because you saw it once and liked it, that doesn't make it a classic. It just makes it a good movie. It's just, for me at least, it needs to be something that I've seen numerous times and I've liked every time. I assume I've seen the movie more than once. I don't know for certain. I know I've at least seen it once. I know I've seen like press junket footage for it and things like that. Like I know I cared enough about it, was interested enough. I really followed it when it originally got released. I know that much, but it just did not. It wasn't funny anymore. It was kind of sad. It was kind of sad. I watched it. Show. At least I can say it was memorable enough that not only did I remember watching it, but I remembered the plot when I watched it again. It was just not. I mean, it's just supposed to be a rom-com. That's all it is. Oh, which I don't think I explained what it was. America's Sweethearts is a movie that came out in hell knows when. Early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s? I would say early 2000s. It stars Julia Roberts, John Cusack, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Billy Crystal. There we go. That's it. Maybe there was somebody else. Yeah, it's a star-studded movie for its time. Darn it, did you put that in the wrong spot? Yes. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. But it's just... Nah. You gotta use that free subscription to Cinemax, which Cinemax, yet again, I gotta bitch about it. I bitched about it yesterday, I gotta bitch about it again today. So I got the free thing for Cinemax, and on the advertisement for like the screen, they're like, hey, you should definitely subscribe to this. They had a picture from Strike Back, and I'm like, gangbusters, I'm gonna rewatch Strike Back. It's been forever. I've seen that show. I enjoyed that show. That'll be fun to relive it. And it's not available. It's literally a Cinemax original show, and you don't have it available to watch on your streaming service. Like, what is your purpose? Well, why would people bother? Let's just go over there. Like, what? You don't even have your Cinemax original show on Cinemax? Never mind the fact the amount of movies you have is just abysmal. Is abysmal. Just ridiculous. Like, why anyone would spend month to month to have that service? Besides the fact that it's included on a different one, it better have been on a bundle. That could be the only reason you have this thing. All those streaming services need to eat themselves. I'm going to need all of you to cannibalize each other. One of you, the bigger fish needs to eat the little fish, and let's move on. Like, there's too many of you. All those different services, like, this is ridiculous. Ridiculous. None of you are ever going to be like Netflix, because Netflix has too much worldwide. It has so many worldwide TV shows. Although I still don't understand how that model works. The more information I see about streaming service, the more I realize it doesn't work at all. Like, all of them are losing money. All of them are going under. Except for maybe Netflix. Netflix is the only one. The rest of them, they spend so much money on their TV shows. Like, Andor season 1 and 2 cost like $650 million for a TV show on Disney Plus. Nobody watches anything on Disney Plus. How can you possibly make your money back for that one show? Unless you think people are going to subscribe during the time that show is and then cancel their subscription and then subscribe again. I don't know. I don't know how you think that that's going to come up even. You need to have just, instead of raising the rates, you just need to just make it lower and don't have as much original content. Just be the exclusive streamer of your own content. Like Disney especially. How did you mess this up? You literally have an entire collection of things to watch. You own so many different properties. Instead of spending a great deal of money on new content, you can make new content. That's fine. But you have to have a normal size budget. It has to be normal. You need to treat it like it's a TV show and not a regular TV show on a network broadcast. Not a cable TV show with a cable TV budget. You have to treat it like a normal TV show. Like, you have to restrict that budget because you can't possibly make that bad. I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Because I know Netflix has some budgets that are insane, but a lot of their TV shows aren't. A lot of their TV shows that they get, the amount of money they spend on those is much, much smaller. And their reach is much farther too. Like it's not the same thing. You try to compete against them, but they already invented the wheel. You're not going to beat them. It doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, it's great that I can have anything I want at my fingertips, but it's also kind of ridiculous. The Accountant 2 is still in theaters, but it's also on Prime. You can go watch it on Prime. Should you watch it on Prime? It's okay. It's not great. It's not bad. It is exactly what you expect it to be. So if that's what you want, then gangbusters. Go do you. That's fine. But it was. I watched it, obviously. I mean, geez, gotta make that Prime membership worthwhile. That it's purely because I went there for something else and it popped up and I was like, oh hey, I haven't seen that. I watched it backwards. I watched The Accountant 2 first and Accountant 1 second. Did that make a huge difference? No, not really. No. I mean, I guess maybe spoiler for no one who's watching this should care. If you do care, my bad. But 1 second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. I actually turned the sound off while I sneezed. I know, I'm proud. I'm proud of myself. I done good. Done good. Usually I don't get to it in time. I'm too damn slow. But The Accountant 2, the only thing that you might care about and that might ruin not watching it in the correct order is finding out who Ben Affleck's brother is. In the first one, like I obviously already knew because I watched the second one. If you haven't watched it and you didn't know that, my bad. It's not a huge deal. I mean, it's not a huge deal. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. I watched that film. I'd like, yeah, that is a standard cookie cutter. Will you remember anything that happened after you're done? Probably not. It's not like most content movies that we make, I don't make anything. That they make nowadays. Let's see if I can't. You can even see. Look at all that. I just cleaned this table. Come on, man. A lot of the content nowadays is just so. It's made to binge and then you forget it 5 seconds later. It's not memorable. You didn't spend a lot of time. You didn't have to wait week to week. You didn't have that anticipation, the excitement for it. The shows aren't made for that. If you had to wait week to week for most of these shows, you wouldn't go back and finish it because it would be so boring. Number one, you would have forgot about it. You definitely forgot about it. Like, I guess if it's on your platform, it'll be on your queue to be watched. But, if you're like me, I erased my history the other day. Not thinking about, hey, you're going to lose where you're at on all your stuff. I just, it's small. But, no, I guess it was a good waste of 2 hours of time. That's all I got on that one. But that is just, I don't understand why the movie did so well enough to get a second season. I understand why his brother had a bigger role in the second film, because that must have been the hip thing. Also, the actor who plays his brother, which I will not try to say his name this time because I failed miserably last time. His brother is quite popular in that type of character. That also made me. Yes, I'm bumping it on the floor. It'll just be on my feet now. My feet are going to be blue. I'll clean the floor later. Notice that the actors get typecast into that one specific character, and then they play them over and over and over again. Like, everyone's point, like, hey, are you eventually going to actually do that thing you're getting paid to do called acting? Are we going to do that? Are we going to do some acting? Or are we just playing the same character all the time? Not to say that he is that character, but you're just like, oh, he did that one thing, so we're just gonna have him do that one thing over and over and over again. I'm like, is it because he can't act, or because that's all you care? I don't know which. I think he's a decent actor, although I've only ever seen him in that one type of role, so I really don't know, honestly. I have no idea how good he is at anything else because he's never given the chance to do that. I know he has his podcast or whatever, because I saw clips of that for when he interviewed Shia LaBeouf after Shia LaBeouf went batshit crazy. I mean, batshit crazy is not the best way to put it, but yeah, he went off the deep end. But don't you worry, he found religion, so it's all good. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, it depends on whether or not he did, but it's not for me to judge. I mean, clearly I'm not fairly educated out of it. I mean, I know about it in passing, but yeah, he clearly had some issues. Although most child actors do at some point. When you're treating kids like adults, they'll tend to fall apart, and yet society loves to treat kids like they're adults. I'm like, they're a responsible adult. They can do it. I'm like, but they should. Should they? Should they? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. But it's a whole nother issue. Which, the only thing on, the other thing I've been watching on Cinemax is Banshee. Because I started watching Banshee, I don't know how many years, at least a decade ago. Because that show was over a decade old. And I don't know how far I got into it, but I never actually finished it. So like, hey, can you binge this and finish it? In a week, my answer is no. Even though it's only 4 seasons. So technically, if I was really into it, I should be able to burn through it. But because I'm not super into it, it's kind of just going to go by the wayside. I'm going to get bored. I'm almost done with the first season. And I still haven't gotten to the part that I haven't seen yet, so I don't know. It's your standard trope, cable TV, not cable, premium cable. It's premium cable, right? That's what we call it? Where, because it's premium cable, we have to check the boxes. Have to have gratuitous violence, lots of tits, lots of ass. Like, we need to show all these things. They're important. Why? Because we're a cable TV show and we can show it, so we definitely have to. That's seriously, I assume that's it. That's it. Just because we can, we must. Absolutely. Does it further the plot? No, not really. Usually no. I mean, no, it doesn't. No. It is just there because you can. At some point, you're like, is this really necessary? Does this actually make it better? No, it does not. Also, this is a Cinemax show, so yeah, I'm pretty sure Cinemax, just from the name alone, I feel like they had porn playing in the middle of the night. I don't know. I think so. From looking at the TV guide or whatever it may be, man, sometimes I say things I'm like, man, you sound so old. Watched a video the other day, and they were talking about how things are different for kids now versus way back in the day when we were growing up, and they were going through all the cool phones that you wanted to get when you were younger. And they got to the Razor phone, and I was like, man, I had one of those. I mean, they have a new one, obviously, now. That's the Razor flip phone, but that's not the same. It's not as cool as the Razor from back in the day. Because everybody wanted one. They were the coolest thing ever. Came after the BlackBerry. I did not have a BlackBerry. I went straight from the Nokia, indestructible Nokia. Man, I want an indestructible phone. I mean, sure, they do great things now, but back in the day, the amount of stuff you could do to your technology, and it would be alive and kicking 5 seconds later. Like, it's fine. It's fine. You can walk it off. Nowadays, you breathe on it hard, and I'm like, yeah, we're done. It's outdated. It's dead. You have to get a new one that will only last you less than a year. It's just sad. And that phone that you used for a year and got rid of, that'll end up in a landfill somewhere. It'll all good. You know, all that waste, all that nonsense for a phone that was outdated by the time you bought it. I don't know. But yeah, it was so much. It was something to look forward to. It's a hip, cool thing to have. You wanted to show it off. It was a thing. Man, the razor was so awesome. So awesome. But yeah, kids today will never know the joy. Although they want that, $1,000 whatever phone. Man, if I asked my parents for $1,000 phone, they wouldn't stop laughing. Oh, gosh, absolutely not. Although my parents never actually bought me a phone because I'm too damn old. I got my first phone when I was in college. Ugh. It's not right. It's not right. But yeah, nostalgia for a simpler time. I guess if I was really going to do the nostalgia, I should have done this on the chalkboard that I have used to put puzzles together since I was like 10. Yay! Look, it's the outside of the puzzle already done. That's right, kids. Already done. It's a very small puzzle. I'm already causing myself problems. We're going to do this one first because it's right here. That's how that rolls. We'll see, as always. How well did you organize it? Well, kids. Is there a faster way to do this? Absolutely. I did not do it the fastest way. I did it the way I want to do it. And that's important. It matters. It truly, truly does. And at least this time, I was smart enough to move it over. Last puzzle I did, I didn't take into account where the puzzle pieces were going to go in. And they ran into them. It was a hot mess. I was too obstinate to move it, so it was a catastrophe. But I did get it done in the end, so that is actually how the puzzle sits. Interesting. Nope. That and this puzzle does actually. Nope. I think it does have a way it's supposed to sit in on the board, which now that I said that out loud, like, nobody's gonna understand what that meant. How it sits, like you can look at the puzzle piece, whether it's going to be sitting this way or this way in the puzzle. Like you can kind of tell. I said that and then couldn't find a piece to go in there to save my life. So clearly I'm killing it at this point, killing it. But if it all goes together as quickly as this is, then it should be a relatively quick and painless puzzle. I feel like I just shot myself in the foot or something, but that's my prediction for now. That, and it's not like, it's only a 500-piece puzzle. It's not that big. I just had to check to make sure I have my elbow on the table. I was like, is your elbow in the shot? No. But we'll see. If you think, why is she mumbling? It's because she has her head in her hand. That's I made myself stop. So, sassafras and drink it's this one. It is interesting. Sit. Yes, I do tell puzzle pieces to sit all the time, don't you? And sometimes I hope that it obeys me and does what it's told. I mean, why would it? It's an inanimate object, but it's the lie I tell myself on a regular basis. So, that what would be doing. I feel like it's not the right puzzle. This one goes here. Oodles are fun. Oodles. That's not too bad. This should go up here somewhere. Oh, which means these pieces are in here. Here, look, and some. Well, you win some, you lose some. Oh, look, here we go. How many pieces will we have left up by the time we're done? So that's 5. 5 in that one. That's not bad. That's not bad. We'll take it. I gotta flip this. It's too far down. I need to move it up. There we go. Here I grabbed that for one specific purpose. And you're like, none of them go in. None of them at all. None of them at all. It's fine. It's fine. There we go. What will it fit? It should go right there. Oh, that worked well. Okay. Yeah, it keeps going like this. That's not the right size piece. No. So last week's puzzle, we were chatting about live streams that they had birds and they had cats, and then because the internet is always listening, the computers are listening to you. AR is already taking control. They're already listening to you. Let's look at it. That's not entirely true, but sure, whatever. Because AI is already listening to you. I got today, I had 2 different streams come up that had cats in them. And then the day after I did the stream, where we talked about the birds, then I had them in my feed, like, hey, do you want to watch a bird stream? Because you talked about it the other day, so maybe you're interested. Do you want to watch this? Like, hey, creepy AI algorithm, stop listening to me. That'd be great. Also, no, I don't want to watch it. I don't have a cat to watch the live stream. I'm good. I mean, no, I don't have it. Just ridiculous. Amusing, but no, I did not. That's surprising. I was hoping that I'd find. Just look for this one, and then you couldn't find it, and now you're back looking for it again. You know, I honestly can't. Here we go. Remember which piece I looked for right before this one? I'm gonna keep it real. I don't remember. I don't know. Is it the end of the world? No. Is it going together as well as the last one did? Absolutely not. Last time we were just picking them up and putting them in. That was ridiculous. Ridiculous. I mean, it helps that you didn't have that many options, but still, that's not normal. Although it would have helped when I laid these pieces out had I put them in the right position, because this coral that that piece doesn't go together. The coral that I'm currently doing, you can tell which way is up and down. And I didn't lay the pieces that way because I didn't lay the pieces that way. That's actually the correct answer. Oh. I knew. Whatever it is, I knew. I saw it. I recognized it. And I still didn't do anything about it. I still couldn't be bothered. I'm like, nah, we're just going to do it this way. How much extra time could that possibly add? I don't know. We're about to find out. You know? Every day you make choices. And those choices have consequences. This isn't catastrophic. It's just annoying. Just annoying. Like, why would you do this to yourself? Seriously, why? Yeah. In my, never-ending death scrolls trying to find something to watch yesterday, I ended up putting on and not watching Gordon Ramsay's new show. Was like, he would go into the restaurant in the middle of the night and in the dark and walk around and act like it's the worst thing ever. I'm like, who in the hell? Like, clearly you had to get authorization to go in there when the store wasn't open. Like, you had to get the owner's permission. You had to get the key from somebody. It's so over the top and scripted in that way. Like, I don't know how much the other part of the show is scripted. It always does feel a little bit like that it's a new version of Kitchen Nightmares. I feel like they also do Kitchen Nightmares too. But sometimes you have to be in the right mood for that. I put it on. It was playing in the background while I was doing something else. And then I just, at some point, I'm like, hey, you're not even remotely paying attention to that. And even when you're not paying attention to it, what literally you have seen in the half-ass watching it, not really kind of thing going on, you were not engaged. You just need to turn that off. It's just dumb. It's just, you're embarrassed watching it. You're not even watching it that hard. Like, just walk away. Walk away. Like, how much money did they pay Gordon Ramsay for this dumpster fire? Like, he has enough shows. Could you really not come up with a better idea and this is what you got? Like, what new show could we make? We're going to do this one. It sounds stupid. We're going to do it anyways. I don't know. You think he'd have made enough money on all his other shows? That and all the drama from past seasons of Kitchen Nightmares, of people suing, saying that it was all bullshit, they made it up, that they brought in rodents from the outside. Do I believe they did that? No, not really. I assume that I'd be more inclined to believe that they just send somebody in ahead of time, like, to weed through it, to see, you would know ahead of time if it's a complete dumpster fire. Like, we can really get some good ratings out of this one, so we're going to go here. Like, there has to be some sort of vetting process that they do to choose the choose the locations they go to on the show. There has to be some vetting process. And that's how they determine the ones that'll be the craziest that they can get the most ratings for. But even then, with that, I watched on Tubi. They have all the older seasons. I've been going through watching the older seasons. That's what you play on in the background when you're doing something else. That's the mindless dribble that goes in one ear. I enjoy that. You get to go back and see, are they still open? It's kind of sad sometimes when you do one, that's family owned or whatever, and they go under. Sometimes you're like, yeah, that's on you. It's always, I always marvel at the fact that those people that start a restaurant, even though they've never worked in the restaurant industry at all ever, like they have no knowledge. Like, how did you think that was going to work? Like, how did you think you could run a business that you don't know anything about? Did you take a class? Like, what are we doing here? Like, you just think it's going to be this big cash cow. Like, that's not in the service industry. It's not that easy. It's amazing to me that they would go in thinking, wow, you have a whole bunch left over. That doesn't go with that. Oh, that's right. When I organized this and was like, that doesn't go with those. You shouldn't put that together. And I'm like, nah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm just going to leave it together. I'll deal with it later. Well, here's the later. But when it comes to things like that, you can't just start a business. It's just not like that. The restaurant industry is very hard. It's not an easy peasy lemon breezy, but you can't, even if you have a person that has all the skills, man, you had a lot left over. It's kind of disappointing. I did really bad on this organization. I'm going to give it an F. A failure. Absolute flipping failure. Where's this go? It has to go in here somewhere. There we go. Because I have a lot of pieces left over that a lot of them I don't think they go. I mean, I am getting some over there. But these don't go with this one. This one does. But I don't know where it doesn't want to sit in there anywhere. Well, son of a failure. Abject failure. Does it go in something else? Goes on that one. Nailed it. Okay. Moving on. We could also say I had 5 left over last time, so some of those 5 or whatever are still on here. I don't think that's actually true. I think I actually put some of those in. But, we're just going to lie and say that's correct and move on. This one, we just talked about this not too long ago, and I said, hey, don't put it too close because you're going to run into it. Well, guess what, kids? This goes right here, and we're about to run into it. I'm about to be so annoyed with myself. Get honest, Mona. You got one shot. Okay. Just. Yeah, this puzzle should be a fairly pretty one when it's done. It's moving quite well. I'm like 43 minutes in. Obviously, it's still the beginning. But to have this many pieces put in already at 43 minutes, it's a nice start. Yeah. Burn through it fairly quickly. Unless there's some sort of catastrophe that I'm not seeing right now. Like I say that, now I can't fit anything in. You know what? Did I jinx myself? Probably. I'll go with that. That's probably true. We're just going to have to do the outside and go in. Da, da, da. Why is this such a... My ass go down. Let's see what other exciting things. You know, for these streams, I try not to talk about anything that's not uplifting. Well, not uplifting, it's not very depressing and annoying. So anything in the news that's coming up in my head, I'm like, yeah, you're not allowed to talk about that. Like, it's not an uplifting topic. We're just not doing it. We're straight up just not doing it. As obviously I watched videos about the riots and things like that today. Like, that's not an uplifting topic. Obviously not going to get solved here, so we're just going to skip it. That's why I always end up in watching movies and TV shows and things like that. Talk about those things because they're not usually depressing. Obviously, it would depend on what you're watching. But I haven't found anything of late. I would love it if I could come find something that I really, really enjoy. The problem is at this point, because you have access to pretty much everything, if it's something you've wanted to watch, you've already got access to it. You've already watched it. You know, there's no, like, sure, I may not have every streaming service out there, but I have access to the other ones. When I was away for that week, I had access to a bunch of the other ones, which is how I ended up watching Cobra Kai, which is probably not the best use of my time. But I had people say it was good. I was like, sure, I took somebody else's judgment. But as always, just because somebody else likes it doesn't mean you will like it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Everybody has their own taste. But you need to be mindful that sometimes, you'll jump into something thinking it's going to be good, and then you'll be like, well, crap, this is not... I mean, it wasn't the worst show ever. I was able to keep momentum and finish it, so I'll give them that. Like, it was a struggle in the end, but I did actually finish the show. I got through all 6 seasons, so they get points for that. But I at the end of it, I wasn't really paying attention that much to it. It wasn't that it was on in the background. Well, yeah, it was. I was cleaning while the show was on. So I was like, yeah, just keep on playing. It's not really a great sign if you leave the show on and you walk away and then you come back in the room and you like, hey, I missed something. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. It'll be fine. The plot's not that difficult. I will be able to figure out what they were doing. I don't need to rewind. I don't need to see it. I don't care. It's not a great sign, but 'tis what it is. At least I keep getting those in there. And now, I'm straight up just taking them off the board. That's right. Taking them off the board. Because they are in my way. But these two are the tortoise. It might actually be, is it a tortoise or a turtle? Yet again, could I have Googled it and gotten the answer to it? Yes. Do I care? No. No, I do not. Last, since we're running up against, this is why I always like to go top to bottom, is because then I can oh my gosh, just epic fail. Because I could just push the puzzle up as I go down, and it's not in the way. I don't run into the, like right now, when you're trying to set out the pieces and the puzzle itself is in the way. Because the puzzle is there, it kind of obscures what you can see. It makes it a little bit harder to distinguish the pieces from each other, and also makes it harder. When you're trying to see if they go together, some of that is just looking at the puzzle piece, seeing if it merges. If you can't see the puzzle clearly, it's going to make it harder for you to know if they actually do go together or not. So it's, it is a consequence of doing it that way, but I kind of needed to I knew that doing the other way is better. But do this turtle, and then we'll have the ocean on top, and then all that we left is the bottom. The bottom will actually go together fairly easy, just because it is very, much more distinctive. Obviously, it's not just plain old water with some fish floating in it. It's coral and things like that. More distinctive colors will make it easier to put that part together. So, but here's our fish. It's like a hot mess. Tortoise, turtle, whatever. That's the thing that lives for a long time that goes in the ocean. There's my answer. Although, does one of them live longer than the other? Oh, I do not have the knowledge about turtles, any aquatic life at all. I don't have the knowledge for that. No idea. How do you not have this one? It must exist. Are you just not seeing it correctly? Listen. Don't argue about the turtle. Tortoise, whatever. Oh my gosh. You know what? Maybe it says what it is on the back of the box. How do you not have that one either? No. No, it's talking about the Ravensburger brand. We don't care about the brand. It's a very popular brand. Look at that. There's a reason I put it in the description for the puzzle. Like, I know it exists. I've heard of it. It's exciting. I don't generally care who makes it. I know some of them do better than others, but I've never encountered a brand that was so important that I remembered one way or the other what it was. So, but Ravensburger made the puzzles that, the all-one color puzzles, like you can get it on Amazon or wherever, or you can choose the color of your desire, and then it's just the whole puzzle is the one color. They're the ones that make those. Look, I got a leg. That's exciting. A fin? Oh no. Can we just... I don't know. I don't know what it's called. Flipper? Can we call it a flipper? All my vast knowledge. No. I don't know if I was ever taught what it was. I'm going to keep it real. I don't know what it's called. It's flipper-esque. We'll go with that. But he's going together fairly well. Don't jinx yourself. I feel like I just jinxed myself, but that's fine. It's fine. Here we go. And this one. And I should look for that one. For whatever reason, I clearly did not do the separation for the turtle very well, because I'm clearly missing a bunch of pieces. I call that now. Like, we're clearly missing something. Like, I don't know where I messed. I clearly couldn't distinguish what is turtle and what is not. Turtle, tortoise, whatever. I don't know. I couldn't tell them apart. I did not organize this well. Whoops daisy. Oh well. Cannot change that now. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. I find it annoying. Clearly, since on the first go, like the arrogant fiend that I am, I counted how many pieces I had left over when I got done. Like, look how well I did, and I'm like, yeah, you shot yourself in the foot. It's fine, but you know, my worst critic, also known as myself, was very disappointed in me. It is the first time that what great catastrophe will befall me if we're not getting it correct? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. At least the pieces are kind of turning up. I just don't know why. It's giving me fits. Fits. And I gotta remember there's a whole other turtle somewhere. So weird. Because I left my puzzle box up. I just... This week is the last week for the Karen Reed trial. Hopefully that'll go well. Hopefully the jury will have seen that the state didn't do their job. Even with the millions of dollars that they've spent, they did not prove without a shadow of a doubt that she did it. You know, had they bothered to get the evidence they were supposed to in the first place, they might have been able to do it. Because I don't know. Nobody knows what happened that night. The state doesn't know either. They keep changing their story. Like, maybe this happened. This is what happened. Maybe this is what happened. I'm like, you do realize it's your job to prove what happened, right? That's literally what you're here for. That's what you spent, who knows how much, hiring a special prosecutor. I know they said how much they paid him. But it sounds super suspicious that you got a high-powered, high-paid lawyer for discount prices. There has to be something else. Like, what did he get out of for doing this random case when he usually is a prosecutor and not, he's usually a defense attorney and not a prosecutor. You hired him on as a prosecutor. Like, what did he get out of this? It's a reasonable question to ask. I don't think we'll ever know. Well, that's not true. We might actually find out. Because the people that watch this trial tend to be fairly rabid. And I mean that in a bad way. They're very invested in this case. Not to say I'm not invested in this case, but not to the crazy level that they go. Like, I can understand if you know her or whatever. Yes, it is an injustice what's been done to her. Yes, I don't like it. But there's certain things I just wouldn't do. And they, like, so in the Karen Reed case, one of the key figures in the case, as far as believing that she's innocent, is Turtle Boy. That's literally his online persona. That's what he's known as. And one of his protests that he did, he literally just took them from house to house and saying, hey, this is where so-and-so, this witness lives, whatever. And then they moved on to the next one. Like, they didn't get up on their lawn or anything, as far as I know. Like, they didn't trespass on their property. But it's a little bit weird to do that. Now, is it right for the other side to be like, oh, he's threatening my existence, I need to press charges against him? Well, you know, when the police officers press charges against a reporter and saying that they're afraid of him, my question is why? Why are you afraid of a reporter? Is it because he accused you of being corrupt? Is that your problem? And now you decide to use the law to try to get at him. It's a hot mess. The whole thing is a hot mess. You know, when the police department's writing a 60-page report about a guy who bought rubber duckies, not the full-size rubber ducky you put on the Jeep, but like the miniature 1-inch version, he bought 1-inch rubber duckies from like Amazon or wherever. And then he also paid to have custom stickers made. And then he put custom stickers on them and then dispersed them around town. And they actually had people following him around, videotaping him, putting these rubber duckies with the sticker said, what about, Colin Albert and other things about this case, like, hey, what about this? What about that? And he would just leave them at random places. And they like called the cops because he threw this 1-inch rubber ducky and left it at the front of Albert's business. Is it amusing? Yes. Is it worth spending who knows how long to get a 60-page report on it when that's longer than the report for the dead police officer that you're currently on trial for? Like, you couldn't be bothered to do it for the dead police officer, but you did it because of the rubber duckies were offending the Alberts and the McCabe's. Like, why the double standard? Why do we care about the Alberts and the McCabe's and we don't care about John O'Keefe at all? Like, why didn't his death matter? Because in the end, if you look at how they investigated his death, he did not matter. They did not care. The first trial's sole purpose was to show how the McCabe's and Alberts were totally innocent, and you shouldn't be doing all these things to them. Like, that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're here for. Also, it makes you look really guilty. You did some crazy weird stuff. Crazy weird stuff. Is there another turtle? Yes, there is. But I don't think I have that turtle. I'm going to keep it real. It's just, the whole thing is super weird. I mean, you act like you want to say you're innocent, you did nothing wrong, but you've got John O'Keefe died on the lawn of Boston police officer. I'm going to say Brian Albert. I say Brian Albert because that's my guess. He has multiple brothers. I get them all mixed up. Insert correct Albert name here. I'm not going to actually add one. I'm just saying. But there must be a correct one. If you know the case, you'll know who it is. But so John O'Keefe died on the lawn. Or, let me rephrase. His body was found on the lawn of Brian Albert's house. Both Brian Albert and John O'Keefe were Boston police officers. So one Boston police officer is found on the lawn of the other Boston police officer, and instantaneously, like, yeah, there's nothing, he could never have been involved. He's 100% innocent. We need to make sure we can prove that he's 100% innocent. Like, how did we get to that? Like, how did you just automatically decide that that was the case? To the point where in the investigation, any witness that was from that family, anything they said was considered 100% true. No harm, no questioning, no verifying information, no ensuring it's 100% correct. No, if they said something, that meant it was true. They just 100% trusted them. Oh, look, there's another turtle. It's really weird. Although I do wonder if perhaps that's just how they roll for anybody. So if you're a suspect, anything you say is automatically shady and not right. But if you're not a suspect, then it's all good. There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. I wonder if that's how they always do things, and not just in this circumstance. I don't know. I'm going to admit, sometimes I daydream. You fantasize about things. I fantasize about, in the middle of the trial, the FBI walking in and arresting somebody. That would be awesome sauce. Like, that's a little bit pomp and circumstance. They wouldn't normally do that. But, I would wish it upon them. You want some sort of justice. You would hope, because things are so shady, there would be a way to get them for that. But I don't think that that's actually the case, if that's actually going to happen. Which is a bummer, because there was a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of shady shit. Like, in the last week, during the trial, it's the defense's case now. So they're calling witnesses, and they called this Boston police officer, who at the time of John O'Keefe's death was a Canton police officer. Since then, she's been promoted and went from getting paid $85,000 a year to 160, 170, 180. I don't remember which. One of those. So miraculously, she got a gigantic raise. Well done for her. I can't imagine what it was from. So when the feds rolled through and started interviewing people, ask people questions, they interviewed this police officer, and at the time, she gave a statement. After she gave her statement, that said that the police chief and Brian Higgins, yes, there's more than one Brian in this case. Honestly, it's Canton, Massachusetts. It is a suburb of Boston. That is just, it's just a stereotype on top of stereotype. But yes, lots of Brians and whatnot in this. So Brian Higgins was an ATF agent who worked out of the Canton police office because he was friends with the police chief of Canton. So they were such good friends. The police chief's like, yeah, you can work out of my office. I will give you space to work in the Canton police station as an ATF agent. So that's how he ended up there. But she got interviewed by the feds, and she told the feds that Higgins and the police chief were in the Sally Port where the vehicle was supposed to have been at the time for an inordinately long time. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how she said it, but she said they were in there for a long time. So she makes this claim. And then the head of the Massachusetts State Police summons her to his office. So she goes there, and he tells her that she needs to tell the truth and that the Boston Police Department will back her play if she tells the truth and she does what's right. So her doing what is right, she followed their command. So her doing what was right was to call up the feds and say that she misremembered. She had a false memory because actually she must have seen some video somewhere that showed them in there, and then she just made up that false memory, and that she didn't actually see them at that time and place because it wasn't possible. Because then they used, she said because of the defense's timeline, it couldn't have been possible. So she recanted. So then she gets called by Karen Reed's team in this trial, and she gets up there, and she's like, I don't know why I'm here. Now here's the first lie, obvious lie. Because, hey, you know why you're here. You've clearly already talked to them. You know what they want from you. You know why they called you. This isn't a mystery. Like, sure, they talked to you later and you said, no, it was a false memory. Sure, that part. But you know, as a police officer, because you changed your story, doesn't mean they're not going to call you and bring you in. That's not how this works. Oh, look, those actually go together. That wasn't intentional. That was just a lucky me. So she changes the story, but she still gets called in. She didn't get called in at the last trial. She did not testify at the last trial. So she comes in. I don't know why I'm here. All snotty and whatnot. Totally annoying. Really, when they ask her what she said, she's like, I told you that I couldn't perjure myself, and that's not true, and I'm not going to lie for you. Acting like they asked her to lie for her. Like, they don't need you to lie for them. They need you to just say what you told the feds, which the jury is not allowed to know that the feds are the one that interviewed all these people. Just how they couldn't know that Jen McCabe, the star witness for the state, lied to the feds and told them that she was her sister. They can't know those things. Apparently that'll skew their judgment. I mean, you don't need to know all the facts. You just need to know the ones we want to give to you. It's fine. You can't let anything that might make the state look bad show up. But she comes in there and she's like, no, I don't know why I'm here. They eventually get to, her what she told the feds, what she told the other agency, how her story has changed, how how her supervisor called her into the office and told her that they would bag her play, that she just needed to do the right thing and tell the truth. Like, it does not sound great for the state. That are trying to say, oh no, it's because we just told her to tell the truth. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm like, yeah, but it's super shady. Like, why would you need to? Why do you need to tell her into the office, make sure nobody's in there, and have that conversation with her? Was that really necessary? I mean, for you it was, but you know, of all the shady shit you guys been doing this whole time, just when you think you couldn't get any more shady, you keep coming up with this shit. But yeah, that's, unfortunately, you never know how the jury will see it. Things I've learned from watching trials is that, people come in, no matter how much you want to say you're unbiased, when you come in as a juror for a trial, you see a person who's been charged with a crime, you automatically assume they have to be there for a reason. And that bias, no matter how much you want to say that you can overcome that, oftentimes they don't. And then they also don't realize the most important thing, which is it is the state's job to prove without a shadow of a doubt that that's what happened. That's their job. It's not the defense's job to prove who did it, to solve the crime, to give you a worthwhile alternative. Their job is to poke holes in the state's case and show how they haven't met their burden. They haven't done their job. They haven't proven without a shadow of a doubt that this is what happened. And because they didn't do their job, then we're done here. Like, if you can't prove it, then we're out. It doesn't matter if she looks guilty. She didn't look in your general direction in the way you liked. That doesn't matter. It's all up to the evidence they bring in and what they have. And also, if you're ever a juror, if they didn't show it to you, that means it doesn't exist. They never found it. They don't have it. They didn't prove it. It's not. You can't hold that against them. Like, one of the jurors from the last trial talked, and he was talking about how they had asked for a certain piece of paper. They'd asked for a report from the CERT team, because when they went to investigate the scene, they didn't call for a crime scene investigative unit to investigate the scene the day of the accident. They called in the search and rescue team, the team they send to save people when they get stuck on a mountain and whatnot. That's the search and rescue team was the one who gathered the evidence on the day. That's how much they cared about this police officer's death. That's the bare minimum that they were willing to do to get evidence on the day. Was the CERT team. So they were like, hey, we want his report, and they didn't get it. So they just assumed it meant, look back to the defense. Like, no, they didn't get it because it didn't exist. Like, of course the judge didn't tell them, hey, you can't have the CERT report because it doesn't exist. They never bothered to make one. They found this evidence for this trial, but they never bothered to make a report. Neither did the person who found the evidence in the morning. They never wrote a report. Sure, they put the evidence in solo cups. They didn't write a report for it. Couldn't be bothered. Wasn't relevant. Didn't matter. No. But I wonder why they had a lot of problems with video the first time around. Video kept turning up. And video turned up before this trial. They had a whole different trial. And they still had video turning up after the fact. Video that was supposed to have auto-deleted itself after a month keeps turning up. Magically appearing in the police station, who knows how. And they ended up getting a report from the person who, magically found it years later. Where he was like, hey, this was... The lead investigator asked for it, and I gave it to him numerous times. He's had it the whole time. He never bothered to turn it over. That stuff. Like, they weren't able to get into that. The whole thing is messed up. I don't know what the hell is going on with this case, but it just smells really, really bad. It smells bad, it feels bad, you feel icky. If they can't, this is the bare minimum that they did for a police officer, I can only imagine what they're going to do for an ordinary citizen. Although they had what was the one news story? They had a car accident of some sort, and they had the vehicle, and they were missing a body, and they couldn't figure out where it was. Like, I think they were missing the driver. They couldn't figure out where it was. And then they looked for a little while, and then they said, nah, whatever, and they just left. And then an hour later, somebody called them because they found a dead body on the lawn that was fairly near the police accident, but the police couldn't be bothered to look that long, so they had already given up and just left it somewhere until somebody else had to find it. Like, way to traumatize a random citizen because you couldn't be bothered to look for the body. You're like, nah, somebody will eventually find it. It'll eventually turn up. It'll be fine. Only the best. Only the best. I mean, I'm sure they'll keep looking out for themselves. No one else, just themselves. It's a hot mess. But, gosh. I try not to watch the trial as much as I did last time, purely because, part of it, it's not a movie you want to rewatch. It can be quite aggravating. I'm trying to be, the only time I'll rewatch it from other YouTubers is if it's a key moment that's fairly amusing. You want to watch other people lose their minds. Like when the crime scene reconstructionist, whatever, the crash investigator guy, I don't remember what his title was. It was, crap. I want to say ARCA, but that's not right. ARCA is what the defense has. What did the state have? Whatever. They're hired guns. People that are clearly paid to say whatever you want them to say. And the reason I say this is because they got paid $500,000. Well, they claim they got paid up to that point, like $400. But I would bet a great deal of money. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't bet money. But I would not be remotely surprised if that's not including what it costs to have them testify, and also what it cost to do more testing to ruin the defense's experts, which is laughable because the defense's experts were originally hired by the FBI, so they'd be the best of the best of the best of the best. They're very good at their job. They clearly show more expertise than the state's witnesses do. But, so they got paid probably $500,000 at least to reconstruct this accident. So what they did was the reconstructionist put on the clothes the victim was wearing. So he put on John O'Keefe's clothes, and then he took off the hoodie because the hoodie would ruin his test, because John O'Keefe was wearing a hoodie at the time. And then he had the Alexis, just like the one she had, not exactly the same, close enough. He had that Lexus back up into his arm going 2 miles an hour. Now, they accuse her of backing up into him going 25 miles an hour. But they backed up into him going 2 miles per hour, obviously because, you can't back up into a person going 25 miles per hour. He'll be probably killed. But, so they did this 2 mile an hour backup, and then they videotaped him leaning into the vehicle they put paint on the taillight, because they're saying she clipped him with the taillight. So they put paint on the taillight, and then he leaned into it. You can watch him lean into the vehicle. Straight up lean into it. And get paint on his arm. And then they're like, hey, he got paint on his arm in the same spot that John O'Keefe had scratches on his arm. This must mean that she backed up, clipped him in the arm with the tail light. Not with the tail, but the whole entire vehicle. That clip shattered the taillight into 46 pieces. But somehow it didn't break his arm. I mean, because that's where the problem lies. Like, if you got hit by a vehicle going 25 miles per hour, even if it was a clip, your arm versus the car, your arm will be decimated, destroyed, shattered into many, many pieces. No. Like, it should be mangled. But somehow, that hitting his arm punctured the sweatshirt and then went into his arm, scratched his arm, and then came out of the sweatshirt and left holes in the sweatshirt but didn't rip it. Like, there are some tears where the fabric inside the sweatshirt pulled out, but you would think it would be mangled. It'd be destroyed. But you have perfect circular holes that went in. They do look circular. So it looks like something circular got poked in through the sweatshirt, the hoodie, whatever, dragged, and then pulled out again. Like, how can you shatter a taillight to make perfect circles? Not perfect circles, but circular. Like, how do you shatter a taillight into 46 pieces? End up with circles like that go into the skin and do that minimal damage and come out. Like, it doesn't make sense. Some of the streams I watch from time to time will have lawyers that actually do lawsuits from crashes and, wrongful death, wrongful injury type things, where they see a lot of car accidents and things like that. And to them, they're like, this doesn't make sense. This is not the injury you would have. And their arguments make sense to me, because you just think it would be catastrophic. There would be much more damage to his arm. That and him, this is his test. So they bought a Lexus. They backed up at 2 miles per hour. He got paint on his arm 3 times, and they were like, this proves that he could have been hit by the vehicle. I'm like, it doesn't matter if he could have been. We need to know what actually happened. She could have hit him is not a guilty verdict. Just because she could have doesn't mean, hey, we're going to need to sentence her to jail because it might have happened that way. No. Might have happened isn't a go to jail offense. You actually need to prove that shit. Especially when you're trying to say she killed him. I'm pretty sure there are other arguments going to be because she was drunk and he was drunk and she drove him to that place and left him there because she dropped off a grown-ass man at somebody's place and he died there. That means it's her fault he died. Like, that's not how we play here. Just because she was drunk and something happened to him and he died doesn't mean she's automatically got to be charged with murder. That's kind of a stretch to me. It's a little bit of a stretch. Just a little bit. Look how much far we've done. Yay. But that's what the state is hung up on. They need to convict her for this. It must go down. I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't believe you cared about this officer's death had you spent even a mere iota of this amount of effort in investigating the actual accident at the time. If you'd bothered to follow any fucking protocol at all in investigating this accident on the first time. The fact that none of the neighbors came out of the house and looked. The fact that you never bothered to cordon off the crime scene in any way to make sure nobody got in there and didn't get contaminated. You couldn't be bothered to separate the witnesses, didn't care. This whole thing is not right. Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong. You're clearly up to no good. You clearly didn't give a shit. I don't know why you didn't give a shit, but you clearly didn't give a shit. And now all of a sudden you're acting like you did? Like, no, you don't care. You need this case to be done. You've already fired the lead investigator for conduct that he did on this case. You've already gone that far. He was the sacrificial lamb. The only reason he got fired is they needed to slit somebody's throat for the masses. That's what he was for. That, and he wasn't on the inside. He was on the outside. He was the low-hanging fruit. But that wasn't enough. The whole thing is nasty. Like, it's not a good sign when the feds go in and do an investigation and they come back out and they're like, hey, here's the information that we got from our testing. You shouldn't be charging this person. They clearly didn't do it. And then you're like, nah, we're good. We're going to charge her anyways. Like, what the hell are you doing? The feds have more money than you do. Even though the state has a great deal of money, the feds have more than you do. And yet you were like, nah, we're good. We're just going to keep on going. We need to try her for this. Why? Why? And like, credibility is also burned from the Sandra Birchmore case, because you clearly knew that was messed up too, and you didn't give a shit about that either. And unfortunately, with that one, almost everybody got away with it. Everybody that was in on the take and didn't bother to prosecute that case correctly got away scot-free. Only the person that committed the crime got burned. Everybody else walked. Nobody got in trouble for that, as far as I know. Like, at the time, when that police officer got arrested for murder, he had already been fired at that point, but that was it. Like, the person he learned it from, he retired with, full benefits. He's all good. He's untouchable. He's fine. And pretty much everybody else walked. She's dead. Nobody cares. It's a very icky world. I don't know. Blah. I'm not supposed to be talking about sad things. Here we go. Depressing as hell. But yeah, it was an interesting case. But the more you get into it, the more icky it gets. You can't help but feel like, hey, if they could do this to her, the only reason she's not in jail right now is because she was willing to fight, and she was lucky enough to find a lawyer that would fight with her, because they were hell-bent on getting her in jail, and they'll do anything to get it. Anything at all. Like, why John O'Keefe didn't matter, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know why it didn't matter. Was it because he wasn't part of the hip, cool crowd that is the McAlberts, which is the Alberts and the McCabe's together? I don't know. But something went down. And nobody's talking. And I don't expect anyone to talk. Because at this point, they're all embedded in it anyways. Like, you all sink or swim together. Like, in a perfect world, since Higgins got fired, if this was a movie, he would turn on the rest of them and let them all burn, but he's not going to. He can't. I assume he got something out of it on the back end to keep his mouth shut, because he clearly planted evidence. So, I mean, I guess in a world, because you have the police officer that said that she saw Higgins and, so it wasn't Higgins. What was the police? It's Proctor. Proctor's the police officer that got fired. Higgins is the ATF. I assume he got fired from the ATF, but because he's an idiot. But in a world, I guess you could say that Higgins and the police chief were in on planting the evidence, but you still needed Proctor to pick it up and not question anything, not say anything. I mean, the police chief is dead, so you can't touch him. Most everybody has either retired or moved on and been promoted, and that's a cesspool. It's a cesspool. But, the process is the punishment. So, Karen Reed will go through the ringer. Hopefully she'll come out the other side of this one, be declared innocent. I still wouldn't be surprised if his family sued her again for wrongful death. But it's not like she has any money. I think this trial and I think her bills are over $1 million at this point, if not $2. I think it might be $2 million to try to keep herself out of prison for a crime she says she didn't commit. Because honestly, I because they destroyed all the evidence, I can't prove without a shadow of a doubt she didn't do it. Like, it doesn't make sense the way their story goes. Like, maybe you might be able to, had they gone with, she bumped him, not going 20 miles per hour, but just bumped him and he fell over and hit his head, maybe I'd go with that one. That might work. You know, like, she didn't slam into him at 20 miles per hour. She didn't, you know, project him 30 feet through the air. None of that stuff. Had they been more reasonable, I might be able to accept it. But the problem is they didn't say that. That's not what they thought. They thought she hit him at 20 miles per hour. Which, the funny thing about that, how they came up with the 24 miles per hour is that, you know, onboard computer, of course, said that she was going 20 miles per hour backwards. And they're like, that must be when she hit him. The problem is that sensor that tells you how fast you're going, that records those events, doesn't record if you hit something or not. So him being hit by the vehicle would not be recorded by anything. So that just means that at that point in time, she was going that fast. It doesn't mean she hit anything at all. It just means that's how fast she was going. So that doesn't prove anything. That just means she was going backwards in that fault. Although I still believe that the reason it said she was going backwards 24 miles per hour is because she hit a slick spot. Anybody who's lived in a colder climate, they get snow or any slickness. Sometimes you get stuck on a patch, and then you do what you're not supposed to, and you rev your engine, and it just spins in one spot. That's what I assume it was. She was spinning. She wasn't moving at all. I don't think she was moving at all. In which case, that means nothing. That timestamp means nothing. This whole assumption that that happened at that time, there's nothing that at all that proves that actually happened. It proves nothing. All it proves is at that point, the car registered that she was going that fast. It doesn't prove that she was going that fast. Also, they never did it. I don't know if they ever will. But they never calculated in, never mind getting to that speed, you also have to stop at some point. So how much road would she have to use up to stop when she's going 24 miles per hour backwards? Never mind she's supposed to be drunk off her ass and she went 24 miles per hour backwards in a straight line. Sure she did. Absolutely. That's some excellent driving. That's skills. Great skills. But, well, let's skip that. And never mind the fact that how long it took you to get up to that speed, how long is it going to take you to stop? And where are you going to be when you stop? Because you don't have unlimited road, how is that a thing? How did you get there? It's just, they've never bothered to answer it. The state didn't care to answer it. They just wanted the, coulda, woulda, shoulda, maybe, might have done this, so then we must charge her for it. Because she might have maybe done it. The whole thing is super muddy. Super muddy. In a perfect world, the state should have already been called it a day. After more and more video kept showing up from nowhere, like, you should have just called it a day and walked away. We shouldn't still be here for this. But we are. Look. I got it done in an hour and 30 minutes. There we go. That's a 500-piece puzzle. In an hour and 30 minutes. That's short and sweet, one and done. Amazing. It's actually very pretty. It's got our turtles. And all of our fish. Oh, there's turtle. And our fish. That's not bad. I wonder how fast a person can do it if they're like an expert. I wonder if this is the puzzle that one puzzler on YouTube did it and tried to do it in 30 minutes. I bet you could. If you laid it out right, you could probably just lay them where they're near where they are and just try to roll it up because it's so distinct. You have so many specific sections, all these different coral pieces. You could lay this out fairly quickly, and then you have the turtles and the fish. Like, you should be able to do it fairly quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if you could do it in 30 minutes. I'm not going to. That would just be insanity. Although, honestly, You know, if I had a day and I was really feeling it, I would just do the puzzle over and over again, see if we can't do it faster. But that's insanity, and we're not doing that today. Not doing that today. So, this is the 500-piece Ravensburger puzzle called Tropical Waters. I'm pretty sure that's what I put on the thing. It says it on the side somewhere. Where does it say it? There we go. On this side. Tropical Waters. Aguas Tropicales. That's right. That's right. From 2015. It's quite old, actually. This can't possibly be a contest puzzle. Oh, they're showing you how you should glue it together. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Thanks for watching this puzzle. Oh, look. I bumped the whole camera. My bad. I'm sorry. I did it again even though I knew it would shake. And I wonder how many times I make the camera shake. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what I did and didn't do right. If you want something different, if I should do it in a different way. Upside down. No, I will not do it upside down. If you're right, I'm resisting the urge to just fold it back up and put it back in the box. That's how I roll. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day, week, month, whatever. And I hope you come back again.